my story. A 19-year-old girl, a fourth girl child in a UPI family. And as soon as you're born, your father passes away in 6 months. And because of you, the father dies. And where this Neeta doesn't even understand, 6 months old girl kill her father. When everything is there, what you have, what I have, the same as what they have. So right now, this community has only one major problem, which is about acceptance. But the only thing is, how do we understand this? How do we identify this? Some might not identify it as pain, nor even pleasure, but it might be as purpose.
What is an HRT?
Hormone replacement therapy. Because the body is grown of being a female. And when you take this HRT, then the hormone is getting regressed. It's not going to be more of a female, but it is going to be more of an estrogen. So you have a progesterone which is there. Now the testosterone has to be replaced to be a male.
Even the present generation with quite a bit of relationship, they're not sure. They jump from one relationship to another and they are confused. They're terribly confused of what's happening because probably is the need of the hour they think, there's peer pressure. How do you handle these kind of questions or parents who come to you? Namaskaram. In a world that's louder than ever, healing often begins in silence. As my guru says, inclusion is not an idea, it is the very basis of existence. Everything in the universe is just one solid being. Today we are joined by someone who doesn't just talk about inclusion, she lives it. Psychotherapist, author, TEDx speaker, and a tireless advocate for trauma survivors, destitute girls, and the LGBTQ community. Please welcome Dr. Neeta Matre, founder of Reach Out and trustee of Amcha Ghar, a woman who's turning deep wounds into stories of strength. So this is Who's on Air. I'm Kamlak Shetty. Let's begin the heartfelt journey of healing, identity, and human connection.
डॉक्टर नीता मात्रे. हर बार पूछता था, वापस पूछूंगा. Who's Dr. Neeta Matre? What is her story?
I think this is a very nice thing, and that is a big wow. And while this is a big wow, let me tell you that who is this Dr. Neeta Matre? That Neeta Matre who is chirpy, who is smiling, who is also that Golu Golu, and who is also that unwanted girl child.
Okay.
Yeah, and who is also that person who was just been left because after delivery, she was not beautiful. And not that beautiful by body, and not that beautiful by any which ways that I can't walk next to her. I think these were the definitions and the tags which was given to that Dr. Neeta Mishra, and the journey changed to being a mother.
Okay, tell me about it.
Yes, and when I tell this about myself, I feel very proud and I'm in complete gratitude to the universe to give me a very, very amazing man in my life who's my husband, Dr. Shrikant Matre.
Achha.
And the way he has created a space for me, completely non-judgmental, is completely a safe space with lot of respect, with lot of compassion and lot of kindness in my relationship. And today with that compassion and kindness in my relationship, I find my own self-worth. I find that this is who I am. And while this is who I am, this is Dr. Neeta Matre. And that is so much my power.
You from Mishra Matre.
Wow.
What is it?
Really? Are you interested?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So let me talk about my story. A 19-year-old girl, a fourth girl child in a UPI family, again girl. And as soon as you're born, your father passes away in 6 months. And then people start blaming you, a 6-month-old child, that you were an unwanted girl in the family. And because of you, the father dies. And where this Neeta doesn't even understand, how could a 6 months old girl could kill her father? It's not possible, right? But that unwanted tag was going on. was going on because my siblings felt so.
Hmm.
While my siblings felt so, people started feeling so.
Hmm.
And I always miss that. Who's that father figure? What is father exactly? When I used to see, because coming from Cardinal Gracious Convent,
Hmm.
and I'm seeing my friends coming with their fathers. And I used to stand at the gate and I used to only look at their fathers, not look at my friends.
Acha.
And while this was happening, my mother, unfortunately, and a very, very pious and a strong soul, who at the age of 37 had become widow, while today people at 37 think of getting married,
Hmm.
but to hold so strong and to get everyone educated, get everyone stand by their feet, had actually succumbed by telling, Neeta, maybe the family wants you to get married.
Hmm.
So my life started very early and it ended up early. By 27, the full picture was finished. The end. Marriage, daughter, divorce. So I did not even realize when did my life start, when did my life end, and what happened with my life.
So you said something about body shaming led to probably the divorce.
Yes.
Are you okay to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. I'm much comfortable to talk about it because this is the area where I started working in. Okay, do not be football of people's opinion. Maybe that time it really created a lot of buzz in my mind, in my body, in my entire feelings that I was getting body shamed. I actually didn't understand, is it really body shaming? Or how does that love completely go away while people tell that you don't look presentable anymore? You don't look good anymore. And with that, I was just going on to understand what is in me, what was that chemistry which has gone missing?
Hmm.
People crave to be mother.
Hmm.
And I just became a mother, and this comes to me that you're not okay, you don't look good, you don't look someone where I can walk around.
You were told that.
Yeah, I was told that. And while I was told that, again, a big surprise gets thrown to me. Yes, I see my very best friend being partner to my ex.
Oh.
And that came as a big shock for my life. Because I was the one talking everything day in, day out to her, not even understanding how it is, and then I see this surprise.
Hmm.
So probably it wasn't body shaming for me, it was something which was else coming to me. And I think I would really like to give a lot of gratitude to one of the judge who is still the judge in family court, Chetna Parekh.
Hmm.
She told me, Dr. Neeta, when I see you, I feel really very sad because the way you enter the space is your heads down. You stand in this space with your heads down, and while you walk out, it's again the head down, and you just cry. Probably you are wasting your time. Don't do that.
She inspired you.
She inspired me.
Hmm.
And I remember while this inspiration came to me,
Hmm.
I said, yes, it's the time to end this off. It's the time to let go. It's the time to be a complete different person. And I think this is the time to be into that metamorphosis.
Hmm.
And that whole journey of transformation happened while I signed my papers in the month of July 2002. And I became a complete different person because knowingly, unknowingly, the counselor who was allotted to me, she told that if I sit back and listen to all these stories, I have this 350 file with me.
Hmm.
And to read all this 350 file, it's very overwhelming.
Hmm.
And I'll not be able to finish my work. How about just end it off, Dr. Neeta? And that is the time when I realized there would be so many Neetas whose stories not been heard, not been said, not been felt. So the untold, unheard, and breaking these biases, I think there is where the entire journey for Dr. Neeta started. And I feel very proud today where I am. And I also thank to these people that they learned and they said me no. Because while they told me no, I pushed my boundaries to become who I am today.
Wow, Dr. Neeta. It's so humbling to hear what has happened. And what is the journey of psychotherapy about?
So the journey of psychotherapy, actually, while I was doing my counseling, and the first journey I started with Nirmala Niketan of entering into social welfares. And while I was entering into social welfares and doing a lot of research, study, coming back to the community, I was seeing there were many people who had problem, but they never had any support. At least for me, my mom was a very, very big support. And I felt that if I have a support, but there are people around who do not have that support. And that's where this journey from counseling to psychotherapy started. And during this journey, there was a lot of ups and downs, because for me to get prepared, am I ready to listen? We focus a lot on telling, but we do not focus on listening. And sometimes you don't only listen words, but you listen silence.
I agree to.
And to listen silence, you need to pause. And while you need to pause, you need to feel that silence to understand what is that silence telling you. And that is where this journey of psychotherapy started.
You have amazing stories with you. But one thing which I feel, in a world that still struggles to accept the difference, standing up for the LGBTQ community, which you are supporting, helping, the community isn't just brave, it's like a radical healing which you're doing at this present time. What first drew you to working closely with the community, the LGBTQ community, and how did your own life experiences shaping that calling? So my question is towards the LGBTQ community, what you're doing as trying to help them.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And I pick up your word, radical. Right? In one of the organization where I was volunteering, I used to be volunteering for the rape survivors.
Okay.
And I still do that. And while I was doing that, I met a girl there. And she told me suddenly something which just came to my mind. What is she struggling with? She told me that I don't identify myself as a girl. I don't feel anything as a girl. And whatever has happened with me, I still don't know, or maybe I'm not able to process what happened with me. But I don't relate to myself as a girl. And I think that is the time when I asked her, would you like to talk about it? And she asked me, are you ready to listen? I said, yes. He said, oh, please, don't give me this. Everybody tells that finally you will come up with that judgment that I am so and so, or maybe I'm and you will also label me. I said, no way. Let me understand you. Let me also understand where is it coming from. And I think that completely changed the way my approach happened to the community, where community started feeling very, very safe, and still they feel safe. If you go back and if you see my book, Beyond the Shadows, there are stories of the community with all their permission, which has been a part of the journey.
I'd like to hear about your book. Before we come to the book,
Yes.
tell me a few stories which, like this one, changed your perception, your thought, and how you approached the rape survivor. How do you look at it, like when it comes to meeting people? What is your perception, your thought? Because you are a survivor in your own way.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you are more compassionate about this kind of a thought. What is that kind of binds you and connects you to these people who are in this journey of life?
So, while you are asking me this question, I would like to now reverse a bit of role and ask you that question. Do you have a heart?
We all have a heart.
Wonderful. And do you have a brain?
Kind of it's working now.
Kind of it's working now. Yes, of course. Yes. And do you have a stomach?
Yes.
Wonderful. And do you also have skin?
Yes.
Okay. When everything is there, what you have, what I have, the same is what they have. But the only thing is, how do we understand this? How do we identify this? Some might identify it as pain. Some might identify it not as pain, but as pleasure. Some might not identify it as pain, nor even pleasure, but it might be as purpose. Purpose to live, purpose to survive. And while they understand this purpose to survive, here is where, as humans, we need to understand that we are actually all born with love. Hatred or being biased is being taught to us.
Okay.
Don't go there, they are not good. Don't talk to them, they are not good. Roll up your window panes. See, they are coming. This has been taught to us. So we are actually, as humans, born with lot of love, compassion and kindness, which eventually starts fading because we start borrowing words, we start borrowing emotions from people. And I think that is where I came back to my core. When I was unheard, I was unsaid, and I was not allowed to be in that space of untold. And then I realized they do not require anything. They only require one thing, is your non-judgmental support. Completely a safe space where you are being non-biased about everything. You are not fixing them in the boxes. We all talk about it, right? We all talk about it. Arey, life mein kuch to alag karna hai yaar, alag karna hai. We talk about being out of box. But are we ready to accept people out of box?
For doing things which is really out of the box, what are the common wounds LGBTQ community has, and how do you help them to heal? Which is the most common problem most of this community is having right now?
So right now, this community has only one major problem, which is about acceptance. Still. I
see a sea change from say about 30 years to 20 years back. But still, you feel.
Yes, completely. I completely agree that there is a lot of awareness now. How do we look at things is come into awareness. But when it comes to acceptance, there is still a lot of work to be doing that. So right now, I have a parent who comes to me for counseling, especially because the mother is in trauma of not understanding what the daughter is going through. The daughter has come out and upfront told that I don't belong to being or identifying myself as a female gender. I identify myself as a male gender. And she wants to go in to get her HRT done.
What is
HRT is hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
Because the body is grown of being a female.
Okay.
And while you take this HRT, then the hormone is getting regressed. It's not going to be more of a female, but it is going to be more of an estrogen. So you have a progesterone which is there. Now the testosterone has to be increased to be a male.
The change happens?
The change happens. Of course, there are also surgical interventions. There are also something which is also called as aesthetic looks, which needs to be updated and upgraded in the body, and people do agree for it. But the mother is in complete trauma that I had imagined my girl, getting her married, getting her into a very big house. She will have her daughter or she will have a son who will come back to me and tell, Nani, this and that. The mother is in complete trauma because she is not accepting the reality. And while she is not accepting the reality, it is creating a drift between the relationship. Where this phase of the daughter being vulnerable and coming out and telling, hey, this is not who I am. I can't feel these emotions. I don't want my periods. I'm not comfortable with it.
Does this thing stop it?
So ideally with HRT, of course it does. There are a lot of hormonal intervention which happens in the body, and it does affect.
Is it safe?
So maybe I would not like to comment on it. Maybe I would like to give the endocrinologist to talk on these areas because I'm not the right person and not the right resource for it.
Totally accept that.
So this is one thing, but the relationship which is happening, the emotional discordance which is happening between the mother and the daughter, and in fact both requires each other's support. Right?
But see, again, coming from growing up, you always need this male, female, and then the word used. So it's happening in normal households.
It is.
Yeah. So earlier, what I know of is they were given away to a particular section of the society. Today, the acceptance also has to come. And what I understand of LGBTQ is there are very different types. It can be a eunuch, it can be transgender. There are different types.
There are.
My question was, what are the common wounds? Is the acceptance, as you said, but acceptance by the family first.
So actually it is not acceptance by the family first, it is acceptance by myself first. Am I ready to accept myself? Am I ready to accept that part of me which I don't even identify? So sex is what we are born with, gender is where I identify myself, that is how it grows. And in that gender, am I able to accept that I'm a female or a male or I'm a bi or whatever it is? So here is where the self-acceptance, then acceptance by the people. The third thing which normally happens is a lot of emotional trauma. And in that emotional trauma, there is self-harm.
Okay.
People are being objectified.
Okay.
People are being targeted. People have been looked up to as a smiling object in one of the parties, or they have been made fun of it. So to face all those things, it's not very courageous to be in that space and still don't have friends who are able to understand. So there is also no social acceptance happening. There is no social awareness of friendship which is there. They don't find that safe space. Because the time while they come out and express, everybody wants a sideline. Until unless they do not find a person from the community who's ready to listen, who's ready to understand, who's ready to take one step ahead. Here, I'm going to be your 3 a.m. friend. You can talk to me. So here is where this 3 phases, which is acceptance, that's self-acceptance, acceptance by the family members, and the third thing is this social, emotional trauma which comes in.
You worked with everyone from destitutes to rape survivors and transgender youth. That's a wide emotional spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you adopt your therapeutic method to meet such a wide range of emotional reality, especially when it comes to the gender identity?
Yes. I think this is a very good question because nobody thinks about it in this way. While my therapy has been effective, which I can say, and of course there is a lot of evidence to it, I don't market, that's a different thing. And I think my work doesn't require marketing because every person who comes into that space wants to create a space for someone else. And while they do that, they have seen I'm just not only listening, and I'm giving them that space with which they are able to express themselves. It's not the space which I am creating. I'm just holding the space. I'm holding that space. That in this space, you can take your own time. I don't sit with that stopwatch. Okay, after 40 minutes, stop. Of course, I need to value time. Even they need to value time. But I give them whenever you are ready. Then we'll talk about it. Whenever you want your any part of the emotion to be addressed, I will address that emotion. I will not go into a lot of ifs, buts, because what if? Because we are not here narrating a story. We are here identifying our emotions, our triggers, and we want to work on it. And we want to work on it to be better in alignment with what my mind thinks, what I speak, and what I feel. Feeling of alignment is very, very important.
Here comes the point. Can you share a powerful story of transformation where your intervention, the way you are approaching, I love the energy which you have.
Thank you so much.
That's changed the life of an LGBTQ individual, which has changed. And then we'll come to the book, which has a lot of stories.
Yeah. So, of course, like this is a platform. And while this platform is there, I would bring the story which is a part of my book.
Okay.
Because every story is a confidential story. But the story which is already aired, that did not require permission for me to share here because it's out in the public domain.
Right.
But in case if I do have to share about my practice, it's very confidential, right? So maintaining that integrity, would like to share something from my book. So my book has a very nice story of Ritesh. And while this book story, which I am just narrating it to you, Ritesh identified himself, rather Ritesh's parents identified himself as a great son. And while you still in the patriarchal world, son is a too nice thing, right? Son is an asset. Well, I remember this was one of the words which was told to me because I delivered a baby girl and my baby girl was told that she's not an asset, she's a liability. So while it comes to Ritesh's story is also while he is an asset to the family, and suddenly Ritesh identifies that I do not identify myself, not even a male and not even a female. At times I want to be a female, and at times I want to be that macho. Completely different 360-degree change, right? And I remember while Ritesh came to me for help, it was only the journey of therapy, counseling. Ritesh was being beaten black and blue by his parents, by his relatives, and then they went and they did all that kind of puja which you do, bhoot lag gaya hai, ye ho gaya hai, he's got something, it was there in the air, kuch to limbu ye kiya hai, and all that thing happened in his life. But he's like, why don't they understand? Then I asked him, how about taking them to a medical doctor? How about doing things for them? How about making things easy so that they understand? And he's like, still they don't understand, doctor. I told Ritesh, but I want to see you in your house. Let's create that space. And I think while creating that space, talking it out, talking to the parents, talking to the relatives, and telling that, right now, what you identify is completely fine. But what it's going on in the body, let him also identify. And while he will identify that, final outcome, what do you want? They are like, we want to see him earning. That was clear. I said, let's do that. If your final desired outcome, the corporate world, is this, let's work on that. And I told Ritesh, understanding your emotions, you actually have to be by your feet. And you have to stand for yourself. And now, while you will be a different person, definitely it requires. And today, Ritesh is doing very amazing work. He's with the industry. He's a choreographer. Before that, he's a good motivational speaker.
Oh, is it?
Yes. And also Ritesh has been doing a lot of guiding force to the people in the community. That just be clear of who you are. Don't borrow somebody else's identification to just fit into the puzzle. You need to have your own orientation. You need to understand that what is your body feeling. Just to be a part of the community, you should not get into the space. And today that is where I see an amazing transformation in Ritesh with happiness, with a good self-esteem. The way whenever he wants to be a drag queen, he wants to be that macho man, he wants to be who he is, or whether he wants to fall in love or no, he carries a good self-esteem with himself. And while he carries this, he always remembers how the therapy actually enabled him to empower. In my therapy, I don't make people dependent on me, because I do not want every time you coming back to me. I enable them, I give them those tools, techniques, and I still tell them, I am here. If you really need me, I am 100% here. But these are certain tools which you can practice, and you can just be who you are.
Your outreach, or I would rather say reach out,
Yeah.
is towards this community. You're supporting them, you're helping them. Today, India, there's a legal acceptance to the community. There are different income groups in the country. Probably Ritesh came from a well-off background.
No. Not
Yes.
from a well-off background.
Okay, but then...
I would like to tell that it was not even a middle class, from a lower middle class group he has come.
Okay.
But the thing is, I saw persistence and consistency in him.
So it has to be by the individual also.
By
to
the
probably
individual.
accept and then
Yes.
go out to society and help
Absolutely.
your own self.
Absolutely.
So again, my question is, like, when it comes to children coming from a lower background, how do they reach out to you? How do they know? The parents probably would be much more wilder, angry. I know of somebody
Yeah,
who's no
totally
more,
agree.
right? Coming from a particular income group, the parents just disregard it. And that child went on to probably street walking or things like that, and that person is no more. How do they reach out?
So I think first of all, this is very sad that this happened, and maybe this would happen with anyone else.
Yes.
As far as people reaching out to me, I'm not only talking about the community. There are families, there are people who reach out to me by some NGOs. I'm mostly connected to a lot of NGOs. I do a lot of NGO work. And in the NGOs, people know that they can reach out to me. And while they reach out to me, there are people like you, people like others who will always give the reference. Ki you can give up my reference and you can take the consultation. You can meet so and so person. So that is one way. Second, I do a lot of small little 1 minute bites on Insta.
Oh, lovely.
They are my reality checks. And while people now, because we are in the digital era, people believe jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai. But for me it is not bikta, but for me it is bringing in the reality. Some people might feel that I don't require help. I am taking care of others.
I will call it जो दिखता है वो सीखता है करके.
Actually this is happening. जो दिखता है वो सिर्फ सीखता है. But वो सीखने के लिए भी you require a process. You require a hand holding.
So are there people coming from rural part of the country also? Because I think reach out is there.
I think
Outreach
they are.
has to happen more.
Yes.
I hope this medium helps people to reach out to you.
Yes, they are, because I right now, initially I was doing a lot of work in Mumbai. Now I'm doing work online from Jharkhand. I have people from Kolkata, because that Kolkata is also one of the story which is there in my book, Priyanka.
Can you give a little quick? Because I like to hear stories.
So her name is Priyanka, of course identified as a male gender, and from male the transition has happened to female. And of course, and she's doing an amazing work with the HIV people. Amazing work in Kolkata with the HIV children, creating a space for them and creating that awareness that though they are HIV positive, but HIV would not be transmitted to anyone in the family. So she's doing a lot of awareness program in HIV. And I think Jharkhand is one area where I'm working right now. Kolkata is one area. I'm working a lot with the Pune people also. So there are people coming because they see that if it's a community and the community has got a safe space, they definitely talk about
So
it.
I understand there is an awareness which is
There
there.
is.
So hoping that they are in the safe space,
Yes.
which is very, very necessary. Coming to your book,
Yeah.
what is it called?
So my book is called as Beyond the Shadows. And while it is called Beyond the Shadows, sometimes you never know what is beyond the shadows, right? We never expect that this is only going to be my shadow, but there are many things of the shadow. This book is a complete toolkit which I would like to talk about. It's a very small little book of just 96 pages.
Achha.
Not a very book, because somehow I'm seeing people are not into reading books. They want to be with that fast scrolling digital
30 seconds,
yes,
1 minute read.
yes, exactly. So this is all about that 94, 96 pages, which doesn't take much of the time. And while this book is there, this book brings in why it is important to talk and be aware of mental health. This is bringing in awareness of mental health, because for me, it is you matter. My hashtag is you matter. If you are okay, the world is okay. But if you are not okay, however the world would be okay, still things are not okay. Right? So today, if I am physically, mentally, socially, financially okay, the world is completely fine. But if any of the pillar is not balanced, and though the world is completely balanced out, but something in mine is imbalance. So I need to be okay. And here is where Beyond the Shadow is all about. That it talks about understanding the red flag.
Okay.
While you understand the red flag, what is the right time while you have to approach the professionals?
So when you say this, the red flag is going to your own self if you have an orientation, or is it to the parents also?
So it is for everyone. Like, just giving you a small example, not coming back to the community, but coming it in a general way. If you're continuously lashing out, if you're completely getting into the space of irritation, definitely there is something going on in your mind, right? And while there is something going on in your mind, today people are very scared of talking. They're so scared of talking because the minute they talk, they understand that I would be judged.
Right.
They bottle up their emotions. And while they bottle up the emotions, the body will reciprocate to those emotions. So the body either gives you a disease or some kind of ailment in your body, or the body gives you a lot of thought process, thinking, then it becomes mujhe neend na aaye, mujhe chain na aaye, right? The entire sleep goes away. And while the sleep goes away, I will blame And people will tell, अरे पूरा रात तुम scroll कर रहे थे इसके लिए. It's not because of that. Because of those multiple thoughts which is getting entangled and it is not leaving. And you don't know what's happening to me. And that is the time that awareness comes ki, hey, you require a help. You require support. And it's okay to come out and take that support. It's okay to come and talk about it. Ki, I'm not okay. And to talk about I'm not being okay, it really takes a lot of courage.
Are there any techniques that work more effectively foster empathy in people?
Yes. So I'm sure that while we are sitting here, we have two brains. At least I have. Not sure about you. Maybe you might have one more brain, extra creative brain. Okay. So we are born with two brains. But the thing is,
You're talking about the left and right brain?
The left and the right brain. And simultaneously, we need to use both our brains. And while we are using both our brains, the brain has a very amazing thing that it creates neural pathways.
Okay. And how do you do that?
And while creating those neural pathways, that is why people talk about, focus on your breath, meditate, be calm, do some doodling. While you do these things, you will see that your state of mind changes. While people dance early in the morning, they do Zumba. There is a big adrenaline gush. And then they feel so good, yaar, today is going to be an awesome day. Because that adrenaline has been giving you inside positivity and is clearing it out. So in the mind, it is 1 to 10 is my to-do list. So being a master NLP practitioner, I bring in these areas, A, which is very easy. Second, which is easily doable. Third, with no cost factor. Fourth, you do not have to take anybody's help and support. You can straight away get into that space and again switch off from that space. So I do teach those techniques.
So you have included NLP also in your psychotherapy?
Yes.
It has added value to what you do.
Yes, very, very much. Very much.
We often forget that pride is not just about celebration. It's also about survival.
Yes.
What does emotional resilience look like for a young LGBTQ individuals today, and how do you help them build it? Today, I feel personally, whenever I see the generation, the quick generation which we spoke before the camera came on, they're very quick about it and they find it cool. They find it, okay, this is the yup thing. What should be the thought process for a parent who probably is just getting the teen moving?
So I think what I am been seeing now, the parenting is also undergoing a lot of transformations.
Okay.
I'm seeing the parents are not that rigid parents. They are trying to be cool, but they do not know how to be cool. So from trying to being in between, which is a thin line, that they are not able to understand. And I also encourage parents, A, to have discussions in the house. Not to have debates in the house. Not to tell that your point is not right, your point is wrong. No. It's not about me right or you right. It's about just discussion. And while being parent, you understand the discussion might be in some other way. Then talking about, during the discussion, you expressed your concern about this. Can we talk more about it? Can we be more explaining about all these things? So this is one area where you gauge and you also develop emotional resilience.
Okay.
Because it is allowed you to speak and it is allowed you to feel what you are feeling. And with this, while you come to pride is nothing but it is the acceptance in the community. They don't at all ask you, okay, why are you wearing this? Why did you do this? How about this? Kal kya hoga tumhara? No. They are always in the now. Spirituality teaches us, be in now. Are all the granths tell us that today and now is in your hand. The past is a history and future is a mystery. And best is now. So while the community comes to this pride, they know that is one of the Diwali, Ganpati, Christmas or the Thanksgiving for them to celebrate. and they get that space to be who they are. So for me, pride is very effective, because for me, I understand if you have been coming for therapy, or if you've been coming to empower yourself, you would be a person who's going to stand out in that pride to talk something which is for the community, the betterment for the community, the empowerment for the community. You will bring in all these areas.
What kind of therapies? You have art-based therapy.
Yeah.
So, and also I think-
Gestalt.
And what are the other therapies which you use to kind of get this going and help them?
So I use NLP, I use Gestalt, I use ABT, and in ABT, that is art-based therapy, I use a lot of metaphor therapy. Like I just ask them to draw anything, whatever comes into your mind. And with that, I just talk to them. And then they'll tell me, "Arey doctor, आप क्या भगवान हो? आपको कैसे ये मालूम?" But it's the experience, and it's it's the study which is behind.
You have caught the pulse of this entire thing.
Yes.
And your therapy is also towards people who are like, you're doing it very differently from most of the therapists who are there in the country, right? Like very few-
I feel that it's more holistic.
Okay.
It's more holistic. And also have seen, in case by any chance, if my mind plans out a therapy before the client coming, it completely changes, because the client comes with his, her, they, any kind of energy. And while it comes, it's a different kind of energy, and a different therapy altogether emerges there.
So you have various methods to get it going, right?
Yes.
That's very nice.
Yes. I also use the clay.
Gotcha.
I also use a lot of theatre. I also use completely something which is into dialogue building, and
in
all
one
these
way you're
things
honing the
helps.
skills also.
Thank you so much. Yes, I do.
That's added value to the people whom you're helping. You've been highly recommended to me about what you are doing, and so wonderful. I mean, today I think as a country we need to open up to this thought that we all are beings. Is there anything which you think we should talk? Covered most of it.
Most of us we've covered.
Yeah. Anything which you want to emphasize on your book?
So only the book, I think. Maybe you can also talk about something key. We are talking a lot on the community, we are talking a lot on mental health, but it should not be one of the tick mark activity. It really has to be addressed. It literally has to be seen that if the employee is not okay, give them some space, give them some time.
I think the HR is usually doing that right now.
I don't see any HRs doing that.
No? Because
Maybe
some
we can,
some of the corporates whom we have, they are having the Pride month.
Maybe we might not talk about the Pride month. That's what, they are doing it, but that's always into the checklist.
So, given the present generation, which is into quite a bit of relationship, they're not sure. They jump from one relationship to another. And they are confused. They're terribly confused of what's happening, because probably it's the need of the hour, they think. There's peer pressure. How do you handle these kind of questions, or people who come with issues like this, parents who come with issues?
So, this is really a very in question now, where parents, even the young adults themselves, they are juggling with it. And by the end of the day, they do not even identify actually what's happening with me. So while they come to me, first of all, parents are very less who come to me. The young adults, because they know that they're 18 plus, they can directly approach.
Okay.
So while they approach me, the first thing is, I want the other person to love me.
Okay.
I want the other person in my life. This want is so big want, and that is where I start breaking it. Is this his or her want, or is it your want? Because a relationship is never want for one side. It has to be both the side. It has to be mutual. So I think for me, it becomes very easy to talk to them in their jargons, because I am using their word. And while they are being identified by their word, yes, this is my want, because it gave me comfort, it gave me what I wanted, it allowed me to be who I am. And finally realizing, actually, this is not my relationship, this is just my go-to partner. And while this breaking happens to them, they realize, this is not what I'm looking for life. I'm probably not focusing on my career right now. I'm not focusing on my goals right now. I'm not focusing from point A to point B where I need to be in my life. And this breaking which I give them, that makes them understand it is important to focus on what they want in their life with a clarity. Because landing up with multiple relationships or jumping from any kind of relationship is one thing where they are bringing in a lot of emotional trauma to themselves. And while they bring in this emotional trauma to themselves, there is always past references.
Hmm.
I also have a comparison. Ki my past relationship did not work because ABC was the factor. So the future relationship which I am now entering into maybe will have that.
So this is 17, 18-year-olds who
Yeah.
are asking you.
Yeah, so it is important to work on that baggage. It is important to let go that baggage. It is important to understand what exactly do you want in your life. So I tell them that it is very good that you love your friends. It is very good that you love the social atmosphere. But by the end of the day, your life is your life. So you design your life the way you want to design.
Wow, very nice. I would like people to meet you, reach out to you, and that's what your organization is all about. You're doing
Yes.
wonderful work, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Keep doing this beautiful work. And any last words for people who are listening to us?
So any last word? My last word is one word, that remember, you matter, mental health matters, and take care of yourself, because this body belongs to you. This mind belongs to you. So do not allow people to take charge of that. Be the driver in your seat. Do not hand over your steering wheel to someone else, and protect your sanity.
Which in other words would be called selfish. But
Absolutely wrong.
no, in other words, when people look at what you're saying, might be the word selfish.
Yes.
But you need to be self-conscious about yourself.
So I would not say self-conscious, but self-conscious comes with self-care. I can only pour in your cup if my cup is full.
Full.
Right?
Well.
I cannot pour into your cup if my cup is empty.
Hmm.
So to pour in, I should have something where I can pour it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, so that is very beautifully put, and the way you put it is amazing. I look forward to you being known on much wider spectrum. People
Thank you
should
so
know
much.
you, know about you, and the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
being
so
on the
much.
show.
Thank you.
What a moving, meaningful conversation with Dr. Neeta Matre. Her work reminds us that beyond identity, gender, or pain, we are all just seeking to be seen and to be safe. As Sadhguru says, if you open your heart to everything around you, your life will become full of love, light, and laughter. And today I hope your heart opened even just a little more in this episode, and it's touched something in you. Share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, stay tuned, stay kind, stay conscious, and keep asking who's on air and what's truly in the air around us. Please like, subscribe, and comment and connect with me, Kamlak Shetty, on Who's on Air.